Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Jennifer and you are listening to the Ego Next Door podcast. Today, I will continue sharing my story of how I began dating a narcissist in a traumatic relationship that lasted 7 years, and going into the nitty-gritty of the idealization phase. So in 2012, I had met a boy, and he slowly gained a foothold into my life and managed to change it radically forever. Not in a romantic way, but in a very deep, aggressive one. Sure, it is true that when I met him, I did not feel any type of chemistry or connection whatsoever. It is also true that part of me decided to give him a shot because he seemed to like me, and so, in a way, it would be easy to assume that I deserved whatever happened afterwards because I didn't go in with true feelings in my heart. However, although I did not really nurture feelings for him, I did give him love. And so, although not spontaneous and authentic, especially at first, I was determined to give him a chance. And once I made that decision, of course the love I decided to give was real. Because I nurtured that relationship, still chose to put my walls down, and I blamed myself for not feeling anything at first. I thought maybe I had some kind of brain malfunction because of the abusive childhood I had. In hindsight, this scenario could be true. Due to trauma, one can develop philophobia, which is the fear of falling in love. It might be quite difficult to develop healthy intimate relationships after having experienced or witnessed abuse in the past. This abuse may or may not have been sexual, although common misconception is that only sexual abuse survivors suffer from intimacy issues, especially considering that intimacy doesn't only have to do with matters of the physical body, but very much to do with the emotional body too. Knowing this, we can understand there are several differences between physical body concerns and emotional ones. For example, one can experience psychosomatic disorder, which is pretty much when physical symptoms lack a medical explanation because they are induced by psychological disturbances, such as stress or mental issues. Additionally, I thought that if I didn't at least give it a chance, then if I ended up single and without having really kissed a boy until after my 20s, then my mother would end up saying those 9 stingy little words. I was right. You should have listened to me. And this scenario could also be true. Due to having been raised by narcissistic manipulative parents, I developed a coping mechanism called the fawn response, also known as the infamous people-pleasing. This response makes you prone to appeasing a threat so you can reduce the chances of becoming a target. And so, one of my major concerns in life was disappointing my mother. Also, in a strange, humanely biological way, I did feel the need to feel desired by someone. This biological need that I'm describing here could be explained by the fact that human beings are wired to connect. Hence, physical affection is indeed a human need. In fact, studies have proven that human touch can activate feelings such as safety and trust, switch off the threat trigger, prompt the release of oxytocin, the love hormone, and calm the cardiovascular stress by activating a nerve called the vagus nerve. So, if you've had a childhood in which physical affection was not a given, it is highly likely that you will need and crave human touch even more, while possibly also freezing in place when in face with that affection. Not only that, but although abominable, the social pressure of having a romantic partner, or at least some physical experience when it comes to kissing and below-the-belt action, can often lead a person to make awful decisions. And this excessive pressure to date can cause developing adults to enter and stay in unhealthy, harmful, and threatening relationships, where it could be difficult for one to express themselves completely or carry out actions that are personally meaningful. So, we have established that in the beginning of the interactions with this person, I didn't feel anything. And of course, I blamed it on myself. Jennifer, why don't you feel anything? Are you that ungrateful? This guy is doing all the right things. The rose, the you can trust me text messages, the nice dates. Why are you so complicated? Why can't you just accept being loved? Why don't you just open up? Just do it. Go in, stop being afraid. This is what I would ask and tell myself for the following weeks after meeting him. But I didn't feel a thing. I felt closed. I felt my heart chained in a way that it could not be given away. At all. But he was so romantic. He was doing all the right things, all the things any girls would wish for. So, if I wasn't feeling anything, it could only be my fault. We went out on a few dates, and I tried my best to look at him and feel something. I focused my attention on his body, his eyes, his lips, something I could hold on to make some kind of connection. Yet I don't think I actually felt it. But he was making a big effort, so little by little, I fell a little, and then a lot. It took me over a month to let him kiss me at all. I rejected him in the first attempt. A week later, after I brainwashed myself into believing that I am the complicated one and how lucky I should be for finally having someone's attention, I gave in. One kiss. That was all. But it was more than I had ever given anyone. Another boundary had been crossed. He had dropped my wall a little more. That left me hooked. I gave something, so now I must give everything. I must dive in. This must be love, right? Wrong. He knew this. Narcissists often do. It's called the idealization phase for a reason. The narcissist's way to lure someone in a relationship, showering that person with validation and compliments. Remember the love bombing manipulation tactic we discussed on episode 4? There is nothing more representative of love bombing than a narcissist during the idealization phase. Almost as if powered by an inner knowing of what the other person wants, narcissists become that person, fulfilling all desires and seemingly repairing all wounds. During this phase, you might find yourself becoming love-obsessed, as if you just can't get enough of this person. Deep down, you may still feel that they are not in tune with you, yet still find their presence addictive. They will give you such a powerful, intoxicating feeling that you most likely will disregard any cautionary signals. This person can quickly win your heart over and make you believe that you have finally found the one. And because they become perfect in your eyes, you let your guard down and all of your boundaries along with it. Of course, this idealization phase lasts until the narcissist sees that their target has become seriously invested in the relationship. And then, as if waking from a wonderful dream and into a hopeless reality, everything changes. However, when this happens, you will probably not notice it right away. You might find yourself brushing away whatever red flags that show up, justifying their poor behavior with arbitrary excuses. It's just a phase, or he just had a bad day, or even blame yourself by thinking that maybe you are just misunderstanding things. Unfortunately, you aren't. The narcissist does not love you, and no, you cannot make them love you, because what they have done is simply project their love script onto you. Coined by Eleanor Greenberg, the narcissistic love script consists of 5 stages that explain why a narcissist may choose you and why he may eventually leave you. And the premise goes like this. Rather than building and nurturing a relationship with someone, a narcissist slowly manipulates someone to match their preconceived narrative of how a relationship should be. To them, the other person's job is to live up to all of the narcissist's expectations and fantasies. These fantasies, of course, not only include the role you must take in the relationship, but also how you must behave, look like, and show up at all times. So, once they have you wrapped around their finger, they are ready to take off their masks and show you who they really are. And in enters the devaluation phase. On the next episode, I will continue telling you about the devaluation phase in a part 3 of Dating a Narcissist, 7 Years Astray. Thank you for listening to the Ego Next Door podcast. See you soon, and I hope you have a wonderful day. If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to hear more, don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Ego Next Door. And if you would like to support my work, consider becoming a patron to my Patreon creator page at Jennifer Hachia. The Ego Next Door podcast is presented solely for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes. The content here is not intended to serve as a substitute for the consultation, diagnosis, or medical treatment of a qualified healthcare provider. Reliance on any information provided here is at your own risk. If you or someone you know is in crisis or experiencing suicidal thoughts, please reach out immediately to someone who can help right away. Call your national emergency services or go to the nearest hospital.